We are 3 days out from race day for the Jigger Johnson 50 miler. Out here doing my last run of any consequence, going up Moose Mountain. A lot of hiking, to be honest. Of course, I have the poles out today. Been using the poles for most of the training block. Doing a lot of hiking, trying to, run like how I'm actually gonna race. Course profile is also 300 feet per mile average. With 17,000 feet in 55 miles-ish. So I've been trying to make my runs reflect that. Luckily the Appalachian Trail through New Hampshire here tends to be around there, so it's doing the job for me. That's where I'm on right now. So it's been very nice having Moose here, just 15 minutes away from my apartment. The climb I'm doing now is 1,000 feet in 1.8 miles, 1.9 miles to the top, but on the backside there's a nice 1,400 foot climb. You get a nice out and back, which I've done a lot. It's 11 miles and 3,300 feet, which is right on race elevation gain per mile, which is perfect. It's been quite the pleasure. Put in a lot of miles, a lot of vertical feet on this mountain. A bit clouded in today, but summit of Moose, 942 feet, 1.76 miles. Poles away, time to run down now. The best part. So for this whole training block, when I've done runs where my, around 300 feet per mile and heart rate around where I want it to be for the race, mid 140s to low 150s, I've been averaging around 14-minute pace. The longest was a 22-mile run with a little over 6,000 feet of gain. Now, I think for the race, I'm looking at around a 15-minute pace, because I know that, I'll be hurting. 55, 56 miles is a lot further than 22 miles, but that would put me at 4 miles an hour, finishing right around 14 hours. Got 3.5 miles, 13:19 average pace, 145 average heart rate, and 1,040 feet of elevation gain. So as they say, the hay is in the barn. The training block is done. It's Wednesday, race is on Saturday, starts at 7 a.m. And I thought I'd recap my training block a little bit, and then most importantly go through the gear I'll be using for the Jigger Johnson 50 miler. So in terms of the training block, I really have had a 7-week focus for this block. I raced the Blood Route 50K in early May of this year, and then I took 2 weeks down-ish before hopping into training for this training block again. But I've really been focusing on Jigger Johnson since December of this past year. This whole entire year I've had the elevation gain goal for the year of trying to hit 500,000 feet of vert on this year. Spent a lot of time on skis, long days, just climbing and then skiing down, doing a lot of uphill treadmill in the winter, getting comfortable with climbing, and then continued that for the Blood Route 50K. And since then, I've been focusing on longer days in the mountains. And so in this past 7 weeks, I've been around 12 to 13 hours of training each week, with one down week where I went down to 8 hours training. So yeah, 12 to 13 hours, mostly running, occasional bike rides, And then elevation gain has ranged from 10,000 to 14,000 feet on each week, which I think that's pretty solid numbers, especially doing that in 50 to 70 miles of running. You know, my best week was probably the 70 miles, 13 hours, 10,000 feet of gain, all of running. That's pretty solid for me. I haven't really gone higher than 70 miles before, and 13 hours of running is by far the most I've done. I did one 8,000 foot day in Moosilauke, and then the past week or so I've really just been focusing on like getting used to hiking. Went up to the Whites and hiked this past weekend, and just, you know, I'm not going to gain any fitness, so it's just like getting the legs used to being out there and hiking, and, you know, having the heart rate low. I've done not a ton of intensity in this training block either, which I think is totally fine. I don't need to do intensity right now. I was at a pretty sharp spot for blood root, and now it's just been about, you know, hours at zone 2 and zone 1. So yeah, I'm really excited for this race. I think that, you know, based on my training, I should be able to do 15-minute miles for the 56 miles and be right around 14 hours. Which has me finishing at 9 p.m. My hope is to barely use the headlamp. We summit Tecumseh, which is a 4,000 footer here in New Hampshire, with around 6 miles to go, and so I'm hoping to summit Tecumseh in the light, and then that last 6 hours can take me anywhere from, you know, under an hour if I'm feeling super good, which I think is not super likely, to, you know, a 4-hour death march if I'm absolutely miserable. But I also don't think that's likely at all. And so with that, because this is a pretty beefy race, there's a lot of required gear. Now, I have my favorite vest is the Salomon Advanced Skin 5-liter vest. And with the required gear, 5 liters is definitely tight, but I think I've managed to fit it all, which is exciting. I have Salomon pole quiver on the back. At the bottom of that, I've stuffed my required gloves and hat. I don't expect to be taking those out at all. The first 17 miles has no aid, and so that first 17 miles will probably be 4 hours, 4.5 hours, because it also has 5,500 feet of gain. So 4 soft flasks, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Can swap those out. I also have iodine tablets. I'm opting for iodine tablets over a filter, just to save weight and space. In terms of what I've been wearing, I have recently gotten some rabbit gear that I really enjoy, and very bright colors, which, you know, I think will be fun, let people know I'm coming. So they're 5-inch FKT shorts, which have a lot of pockets. I'll probably put a lot of gels in. And then this perforated Easy Tee, which is really nice. I really enjoy this. Comfortable when it gets wet, fits me well. And the perforations are nice and breathable because heat's a big issue. I'm also going to be wearing a hat. I'm going to be wearing this On lightweight hat. I wanted to wear my Fractal bucket hat, but it's a little bit dense. I wanted something more breathable, and something that I could wear a headlamp in. And so I think this On hat's going to be the best. One of the biggest things is shoes. In my last video, I said I was probably going to use the Hoka Tecton X1. But I decided to go for a shoe with a little more comfort, a little less performance, and that's the Topo Mountain Racer 3. Now, I don't have a lot of miles on this. I have a lot of miles on the Mountain Racer 2. The 3 is pretty similar, but the shoe is so comfortable, and I think that that's really what I'm going to want. So, yeah, going for the Topo Mountain Racer 3. For socks, going nerdy and gingy toe socks. They work well with the Mountain Racer. Prevent blisters, and, you know, as long as I don't take my shoes off, no one can tell I'm a complete loser. And again, because this race has so many climbs, I'm bringing poles. You saw that pole quiver. These are just the Black Diamond aluminum distance Z poles. You know, carbon poles might save a tiny bit of weight, but I don't care. These are the first poles I ever got, only ones I own, and they do the trick, and I'll be going with these on race day in a 1:15 length. Because I'm a short boy. And now the biggest thing for this race is fueling. It's long, and I've never done something like this before. The longest I've done is a 50K. And I'm doing something that, you know, might not be, it could go really well, or it could backfire. I'm not quite sure. And that's fueling on mostly gels. The bulk of my fueling will be these Carbs Fuel gels, which I've been using since this past winter. They have 50 grams each gel, so I'll be having one of these every hour. And then I'll also be having one of a Huma gel or a Never Second gel to, you know, the other 20, every other 20 or 30 minutes for, you know, around 100 grams of carbs per hour. When my stomach's hurting, Huma always works really well for me. Then Never Second, they're pretty tasty, but I think I could get sick of them, so I'm not relying on them too much. I'm also having the occasional Morton gel. I also have some Morton caffeine gels, some Huma caffeine gels. And then if things go really south, I also have some Cliff Bar Cool Mints, which, you know, some real food. And then at all the aid stations, they also have real food. But I have in this box, and I'll have it in the drop bags, a total of 100 grams of carbs per hour, so 400 calories for 16 hours. So it's a lot. I'm not sure if I'll get through it all. Hopefully I'm not out there for 16 hours and I won't get through it all, but it's a lot of fuel. And, you know, I think that'll be good. Yeah, I think that's everything. I'm super excited for this race. I've been, you know, wanting to do a longer race, and I think that this is the perfect one. Out there in the mountains all day. There's some faster people signed up, which is really exciting. And, you know, I have no idea where I'm going to place. I'm not going to think about competition when I'm out there. I'm just going to think about being conservative for the first 17 miles, take advantage of 17 to 31 because that's pretty runnable, and then see how things go. Very much entering unknown territories from 31 to 56, which is a long time. And yeah, I'm super pumped. It'll be the hardest thing I've done, and I'm excited for that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed following along. I'll have a race video coming out in the next week, and hopefully it goes well. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. Share this with anyone that might be interested. And, you know, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. As always, keep on running. Thank you.